Great. Okay, welcome, everybody. I'm Crystal Pascucci-Clifford. I'm the Executive Director of InterMusic SF. Many of you know me, but maybe this will shed some light on what motivates me to serve the music community in the role that I'm in. I am from Long Island, New York. I started playing the cello through a public school music program at Deepen School District. My first teacher looked like Santa Claus. His name was Mr. Tinder. I have 3 degrees in music, a BM from State University of New York College at Fredonia for cello performance, a graduate professional degree from the University of Hartford. In classical cello performance and an MFA in composition and improvisation from Mills College. My first arts admin position was an internship at Real Art Base in Connecticut under the Director of Development. Once my internship was completed, I was offered a curator position programming a music series in the theater there. The position was available if I wanted it, and I came back with a $40,000 budget and got laughed out of the office. I had another development internship at Berkeley Symphony and finally landed my first paid position in development at the Open School of Arts. Growing up, my family wasn't particularly well off. My dad fathered 5 children. He supported all of us. We were within 10 years of each other. Money was never something that was easy for me to talk about. And being around wealth was not something I found to be particularly comfortable. But I knew that there were a lot of people who wanted to make change through philanthropy. And I got to meet those people, start seeing those people show up. And they chose to support the work that I was drawn to do, that I was being told to do one each year. I hope that what we talk about today uncovers some of the mysteries that is kind of wrapped up in individual giving. And it allows you to find a way to channel the joy of giving, to bring something, the enjoyment of generosity, a desire to want to celebrate generosity. I hope you learn the value in cultivating meaningful relationships with your donors, and that you can take away many of these principles you can apply to institutional giving as well as individual giving, because at the end of the day, we put people first with these relationships. And housekeeping, please hold your questions until there's a pause. I'll have several opportunities for you to ask questions throughout the session. There will be breakout rooms for one-on-one exchange, so please be responsive to your partner if you're on Zoom. If you're in a breakout room and your partner is unresponsive, just go back to the main room and Mark and Tyrone can help you out. Lastly, Mark is going to share a link to a doc. It's a Google template. And we've also emailed a Word doc to everyone. And it's, if you prefer that format, it's just a place to leave notes as we walk through the material. It's kind of dense and we have a lot to cover. So I just thought that would be a place where you could also leave notes for your partners, and you'll see kind of some of that, those activities. Okay.
And you have
a printed version.
Do you need a pencil? Okay. All right, cool.
So you can go to the next slide. This is an overview of what we're going to cover today. Understanding your donors. Who are they? What motivates them to be philanthropic? And why do they give? We'll talk about how and why you should be fundraising. It helps to remind yourself that, like, hey, it's my job to do this. I am the one who has to fundraise to support the music that I think will make the world a better place. The best way to identify your donors is to tell your story. And we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of mission, vision, and value statements. Moving into part 2 on June 17th. Please fill out the survey. We're going to be covering communication with your donors, the types of materials that can support your efforts, appeals, calendars, and giving options. And then the final session, we will go over expressing your needs to your donors. How do you kind of like package that? What does that kind of budget look like? We used to pull in real numbers. That's also framing the gap, and how to make things. So we'll do some verbal activities as well. You can inform the direction of the next 2 sessions. So if we have, this is what we have planned. If there's something that you were really hoping to cover and you don't see it listed and are not going to get to it today, then just let me know through the survey. You are very much a part of this kind of going forward. So you're invited. Okay, next slide, please. Who here loves fundraising? Like nobody does. It's very uncomfortable to talk about money. It can be seen as like greedy or grabby or icky. You may think it's not your place to be asking for money, but people might ask them before talking about it. But you will see that giving can be an incredibly enjoyable experience for your donor. Most people are expecting to be asked to support. Donors are stakeholders. What that means is when you're building your donor base, you are building your community. You should look to diversify. This is the last reason why you should absolutely fundraise. You should look to diversify your revenue so that you don't have all of your activities funded by 1 or 2 sources. For example, earned revenue and then switches time. So you would just want to identify if there's another revenue stream and it's worth exploring these data. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to do our first activity. And it's to share a giving experience that you had as a donor. So when you gave to an organization or a cause or supported, the Friends Record or a crowdfunding campaign, what about it made you excited? What lit you up so much that you wanted to give your hard-earned dollars in support of this cause? I'm just going to give my example. Each year I give to the open school students. I usually get something in the mail, physical, and it's a follow-up email. I give because I have aligned values. I was a teacher there. I got to see the programs on the ground and I've seen it in action. I know how much of an impact free, equitable access to specialized instruction can change the lives of our students. So we're going to set the timer for 1.5 minutes and we'll put you in groups of 2 and if 45 seconds, you can have the first person try to share their story, and then for the second part,
It's gonna be 2 minutes. It has to be a whole minute.
2 minutes.
Okay.
With 1 minute each.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
All righty.
I'll check you that. So, you want to tell me about the experience that you had? That was
Sure.
we done that?
Think. The main reason is going to be the whatever pause aligns with my values, right? And that's what we want to do to forward. I'm related to the arts, with all the political time, I can also stuff, and non-profits that are, fighting, for, justice and, people rights. And those are some of the non-profits that I'm looking for. I think I'm just because they are with my hobbies, and yes, it does, makes me feel good in a way.
We do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think there's something about the, like, even. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
But also, in a way, makes me feel, that I'm helping something just, or something I believe in, or raising I don't have lunch or how little. I can contribute to something work, at least like slightly better, and I think it'd be better.
you are having,
Yeah.
for sure. I appreciate that. Okay,
5 seconds.
okay. Wow, we're doing it. Did I miss? Okay.
No, they're coming back. They have 30 seconds to.
They're so happy. That's great. I'm sure no one back.
Yeah, they're coming.
And is this being recorded?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're back.
Oh,
Okay.
welcome back. All
Wow,
right.
they were having
Um,
problems.
Does anybody want to share kind of one thing that rose to the top, or you don't have to, but you can if you want to. We have a speaker in the room.
Hi, I actually put into a room by myself, so I guess I'll share with the rest of the people here. The first time I gave was to Minnesota Public Radio because I would listen to their classical station when I was in college. And so I decided that I wanted to support that some way because it would wake me up every morning. And it was great. It would always make my day. And so that was the one experience I had with giving to a nonprofit, and I love it. And I'm still a sustainer today.
Great. Yeah. So I think there was lots of sharing here as well about making an impact through the work of others. So having a chance to be a part of some larger solution that is beyond what we can do as individuals, but through this pathway of giving, we can have and make change. I think that's really something to uplift and celebrate. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So I just want to talk a little bit about why people give. And these are really kind of tried and true. The first reason is family tradition. Can you click over again? Next slide. Great, thank you. Family tradition is the case of someone saying like, my father always gave to this cause, and so I'm going to continue doing that in their memory. And so a lot of families do that. What about the next one? The next one is a personal experience with the program or social change. Like I received public arts education, and so I wanted to support other programs that are reflective of that. Something that would come to mind for musicians is like, I used to play, or I play a little bit, but you do it like way better. And I want to support you because you are positioned to do that. The next one is moral conviction. You feel like it's the right thing to do. So in the state of the arts right now, with arts federal funding being cut, a lot of people are feeling moved to action, and that it's their moral obligation to continue to support the arts. The next is pragmatic and business reasons. It could be that you're playing a outdoor concert and a bank wants to sponsor your performance because they get to have their logo aligned with your music. The next is recognition, social or political leverage. So somebody wants to have their name associated with supporting a project or a cause. And use that later to say, I supported this thing that I know that you care about, so let's do this other thing that I'm trying to do. And the final one, the next one is tax breaks. So just the write-off at the end of the year, and we will talk about that a little bit more. And then finally, because someone asked them. This is the number one reason why donations do not happen is because nobody asked. So you have to make an ask. You have to ask often, and you have to thank them often and well and promptly. Okay, next slide, please. I just wanted to show kind of a breakdown of what philanthropy looks like. It's all about the individuals, essentially. Adding in bequests, it's nearly 80% of all philanthropy. Even foundations and corporations are driven by individual relationships, and we've been kind of driving that home. If you don't have a contributive revenue mix that looks something like this, then you have room for growth. Do we have any questions at this point? Great, let's move on to the next slide.
What's a bequest?
Oh, what is a bequest? Yeah, a bequest is it's also called plan giving. It's when a donor leaves some large asset or assets to a cause when they pass. It's a way of writing in philanthropic giving into when you into a will. So sometimes people donate houses. There's like a really great organization in San Francisco right now that is taking bequests of living artists. How does this work? Something like they are lining up bequests so that artists can live in their homes after they pass. And I believe they may be current artists or something. So it's like an option for if you want your house to be lived in by an artist, there's like subsidized way of securing housing, for example.
I was just curious, is this like, about the source? Is this like music nonprofits in America, or is it more local?
This is a chart of all national giving.
Okay.
So this is just philanthropy in the United States.
Generally philanthropy across any nonprofit.
Across all giving sectors. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is to sponsored projects like many of you, and also nonprofit organizations.
Cool.
Okay. Your mission, yay. We're going to talk about this because it's the number one way that you can market yourself and solicit for donations. So let's go to the next slide.
So tired.
So your mission statement is interchangeable with an artist statement. I'm hoping that everyone here today leaves with some firm understanding that you are running a business and that it's called an artistic enterprise. And it depends on charitable donations in order to run and stay operational. Next slide. So the benefits of fundraising for your projects. The first thing is that it supplements your earned income. Obviously, it's more dollars for work. The second reason is because it ensures that your role as an arts worker is compensated fairly. So it just means that you can make art without justifying the project. You can do it for art's sake, a contribution to the dialogue, the advancement of the music sector. You don't have to have an exchange in a traditional sense. People who do not practice music or art still want to support the arts, so you're giving them an avenue to do so. You're continuing to do the work you're doing because it makes the world a better place. So that is ensuring it's enacting your values. So can we go to the next? So that's enacting your values. And then the next one, it's part of your responsibility. The way the economy is defined, some people have to give, and you are reaching out as a possible partner. There are several roles. Next one. There are several roles folks in the community can support your efforts in fundraising, which means that you can more broadly connect with others. They can be volunteers. We'll talk about all of the ways that they can connect and give something to your cause as an ensemble or a composer. And then the last reason is because it communicates what you do and why. So it's a good way to kind of clean house and really like kind of understand how to communicate what you do. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so charitable causes identify a problem and then they point to a solution that only you are best positioned to undertake. But we should not go so fast. What do you do and why do you do it? This is a crucial step in developing relationships with funders and partners and donors. You need to know what your mission is. Can I see like a show of hands? How many folks have a mission statement that they use that is solidified and it's the same way in all of their materials? Perfect. Great. So we're going to talk about we're just going to take a look at mission statements and be sure that they're mission statement, vision, values, make sure that they're doing and functioning in the ways that you need them to function. If you're asking for donations, it's to support a charitable cause. A charitable cause identifies a problem in the community, in the world, and then it presents this solution that only an artist or an ensemble is uniquely positioned to solve. Fundraising is presenting this to those and inviting those who share alignment to do their part in advancing your cause by donating. Donors are not well positioned to solve the problems that you're solving. You are the one that solves the problem. They are best positioned to financially support your cause. So it's a partnership. Okay, next slide, please. Your mission statement should communicate who you are and present your purpose. An example is, go ahead, is the TED conferences. Their mission statement is ideas change everything. It works because it's a few words and it immediately communicates purpose. It's inspiring. It hints on something larger than the programming, giving talks. It's about cultural and intellectual impact. It's action-oriented, it uses a verb, and implies continuous movement and outreach. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So the next thing is a vision statement. Why? Your vision statement should unpack why you do the work that you do. Think about describing a world or a community that exists after you have completed your work. What is that ideal place? What does that ideal place look like? What is your vision of where we could be if your mission was advanced? Let's look at IKEA's vision statement and why it works. So their vision statement to create a better everyday life for many people. First off, it's clearly defining the why to create a better life for many people. It looks towards the future boldly and optimistically. It's human centered. It does not focus on just selling furniture. It focuses on improving people's lives. And many people signals accessibility and inclusivity. And it's broad but grounded. So it allows for changes in, say, like they're not just like doing furniture. You can have innovation within this statement and it will still work. It'll still be applicable. Okay, next slide. And the last I wanted to talk about is the values statement, which is asking the how. Okay, can you click forward? So I just, and again, please. I just pulled the ACLU value statements and their core principles. Communicating who you are, what you do, why you do it. It's absolutely essential for finding the alignment with your donors. You want to excite them. You want to light them up. And you want to say, do you want to stand with us? And you want them to say, yes, we want to stand with you. You want them to say, hey, my folks weren't wealthy enough to take me to see chamber music by professional musicians. So SF Music Day is free and it welcomes families, including kids. Sign me up. Yes, I want to do that. I also believe that everybody should have free, equitable access to world-class music. So you're giving them reasons to say, yes, I want to stand behind this. It should be very clear, very simple. And you should have many ways of talking about it. So we're going to do a brainstorming session. Let's go to the next slide, please. And we're going to have 5 minutes for each person for a total of 10 minutes to share ideas, if you already don't have your mission statement, of what your mission statement might be. Like, what is your purpose? What is your vision? What are the what, why, and how? And I would love for the other person to take notes while you're talking, so you can actively brainstorm. And if you already have a clearly defined mission, vision, and value statements, then discuss the ways you believe your statements are strong and serve these objectives, or decide if any of your statements maybe could use some revision. If you're struggling to talk about your mission, which I really hope you aren't, I encourage you to identify the problem that you are aiming to solve and how your work is uniquely positioned to solve that problem. You can also try and answer the question, why music, or why your music? So I think we're going to go into this activity. I'm really excited for you to just get kind of your vocabulary going and share with one another. Okay, here we go.
I have something written down. Speak together a while ago. So would say that, from the mission perspective, I have driven like three main components. One of it being social, and through the social side, I've been, inspired my audience, to look within, to look, to look within and be the most creative self. Innovation, to rethink, and redefine the concept of Puerto Rican music, and then from the culture to be an advocate of Puerto Ricans and Puerto Rican traditions.
Okay, so some of those are hows,
Okay.
and the how is less exciting than the what.
Okay.
And the what.
Okay.
So if we can really just like really kind of delineate how these different statements are functioning, it makes it a lot easier to kind of communicate. So here,
There's a couple folks who are, they don't have audio, so they're not hearing. I'm gonna give you the mic so that they can talk as well and hear what y'all are saying about the missions. Okay.
Hello. So we're gonna just have Pedro just kind of shared a little bit of what he has for his mission statement. And there were a few hows included. And so we're talking about how do we really delineate between how each of these statements and what they are supposed to do. So for example, when we have our values on like the InterMusic website, we have that we literally bullet point the reasons why we do the work that we do. So the reasons why is because we believe that everyone should have free access to world-class music. Because we believe, and you can use we believe is really great because if someone else really believes that too, then it's very easy to get on your side. The mission is what you're dedicated to. And this is a larger kind of statement of like dedicated to the advancement and innovation of Puerto Rican music within local communities. So there's like who you are. I am a musician that has an ensemble that is dedicated to. What are you dedicated to doing? And what is it? Why is that important? So the vision, the way that we've written our vision statement is that it literally does the thing that I was saying. Like it paints what the community would be like if our mission were advanced. Which means, San Francisco Bay Area communities of artists and audience, they thrive in a musical climate. Empowered musicians engage creators and bring people together for shared experiences. It increases the ability for people from different backgrounds to talk to one another. It bridges gaps in culture. So those are like, that's the why music, the why music piece, the vision.
Okay.
And the mission is like really, what is your dedication, and not in a how way, not in a by doing this and that. We're not even, that's so far from where we are so far. That's getting into like your activities and your projects. Those are like project descriptions, right?
I mean, for me, I guess the way I understand it, like from a how is, so I divided those three components that I mentioned as being social. So my mission being social, innovation, and culture, right? And then in terms of the social, at least the culture aspect, like how do I promote the cultural aspect of what I do, which is through my performances, showing up my performances. So that's more of a how, right? Um, in the innovation side of things, I think the how applies, and my compositions or my how do I work on the innovation side of my mission is, well, through my compositions, through my original work. And I think in the social part of it, the how is a little bit more less defined, because it could be, if I want to inspire my audience, this could be through, well, conversation. It could be through uh, a little bit more on the how, mailing lists and stuff like that. But so that's the parts of, that will be the actual hows on how I see those three components of my missions get applied.
Yeah, I think, I was saying this earlier I was talking with Mark. I think that donors and funders at first are not interested in how the sausage is made. They don't really they don't know. You're the one who knows that part, right? Like you're the one who knows that we do all of these things and, workshops and through mentorship and, it's like, well, but the big thing is nourishing the Bay Area community, creative community. That's like that's the big mission. That's why we're doing any of this is because, and we believe that musicians face barriers to financial resources. That's the why. But the what is really, if you can get it down to a sentence that you can say easily, it can roll off your tongue. That's where you want to be. When someone says, what do? You can say, my ensemble is dedicated to blank. And it's like, that's really interesting to me. And it should be inviting. You're wanting to engage people in the social change that you're making, in the celebration of innovative Puerto Rican music, right? So it should be something that is an easy yes. And in your own words. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to try it again? Like do another stab?
Sure. I mean, I think, let's see if I can refrain the information that I have here into that one sentence without breaking it down.
Okay.
So 133. Is that what's left, or?
A minute and 33 seconds from the 10 minutes. From the 10 minutes? Whoa. Oh, okay. Well, that took a lot of time. Oh boy. Okay. Well, you can work.
Hey Patrick, I saw that no one was in your room. I wanted to invite you out here to maybe give Crystal kind of a stab at what your mission statement would be if you'd like to. And yeah, we're having more discussions like that in here if you'd like.
Hello, thank you. Okay. Actually, I'm like super green around the ears with all of this, so I don't have much to offer. Just here to learn as much as I can.
All good?
Just what I was discussing with Pedro
Thank
was
you.
just like really trying to stay away from the how and really drilling down on the one sentence of what. And so we went through kind of like kind of see the mission statement as being the overarching what. And so in InterMusic's situation, it's that we want to cultivate and nourish the creative music scene of the Bay Area. Like that is the shortest way that I can say, the most direct way I can say exactly what all of the work is about. So if you can paint a picture of like what are you doing, right? And then the why is your values. we do this because we believe that X, we believe that Y. And you can use the term we believe. I think it's really powerful to kind of, well, it's helpful to plainly state your values. If you could get it to like 3 values that like uphold a reason why you do the work that you do. And then the vision we've painted as just being the literally a portrait of music community that is thriving. So I think it's easy to sometimes get the hows and the whys kind of in the mission, but if you can try really hard to keep those in different portions of your statements, I think it's helpful. All right, how's everybody doing?
Fine.
Good. Was that a good amount of time or did you need more time?
Good amount.
Oh, fantastic.
It was,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Great, thanks. Okay, we had a very good, lively discussion in here about just really drilling down on the what. I think I can't say this more, but if you can get a mission statement that is 1 sentence long, that is quickly identifying exactly what you do for anybody who asks, this is elevator pitch style. It's something that you use on your website over the place, in your newsletters, in your communications, in your appeal letters. The more you can kind of go back on this and lean back on it, the more like you can find others who are mission aligned.
Mm.
So you have to know what your mission is in order to find out if anybody is aligned with it. So that's why this is such an important piece. You want people to feel like, yes, I believe in that too. Those are my values. I really believe in those things. So I want to support you. The clearer you can be with these statements, the easier it will be to communicate with donors why you're asking them for money. Okay, let's move to the next slide. I think I lost my. Okay. Fundraising for your artistic enterprise. Okay. Now we're going to, I think this is one bullet point at a time, isn't it? Is that the way this works? Okay, great. So what is an annual gift? If your donors are giving for tax benefit, they will most likely wait till the end of the calendar year to make their donation. We'll talk about the donor calendar next time and donor communications, but typically appeals are sent in November so that after the donor reviews their income for the calendar year, they have a conversation with their tax preparer to find out how much they should give away to receive the best, greatest tax benefit. Either they're giving to the government in the form of income tax, or they can give it to a charitable cause of their choosing in the form of a donation. Just always remember that many people have to give away money each year anyway. They could very well be passionate about your mission and want to give it to you. Recurring gifts are a great way to, for one, maintain cash flow throughout the year, and two, dramatically increase the impact a gift can have. A $20 a month gift will yield $240 a year. That's substantial. I'll tell you that if you are soliciting for a first-time donor, $20 a month gift will be much easier to secure than a $240 to $250 one-time gift. And there's no way to know if they will give again the following year if they're not recurring. So recurring is ongoing, and it really adds up. My advice is to call your your one-time $50, $25 donors. Yes, call them on the phone and say, first and foremost, thank you. You always want to thank your donors for your gift. Together, we are accomplishing XYZ, your mission. Tell them a story about something that they helped you achieve. And then say, I know your donation was a one-time gift. Is there any way you would be interested in a monthly contribution at the $20 level? Monthly gifts make it easier for my ensemble to know if we can reach our fundraising targets early in the year. Plus, monthly gifts make you a member of our blank blank circle. And we will talk about membership next time, but membership is another kind of piece of this puzzle that can help secure and shore up those recurring gifts. If they say no, you say, okay, well, can I check back in with you in a month or two? I'd like to provide you and my supporters with updates throughout the year. We will have next season's calendar finished by then, and it'd be great to connect. So make a date to talk again soon. If they say no, you can stop asking and devote your time elsewhere for now. Okay, next is underwriting and sponsorships. Underwriting and sponsorships have pros and cons. I sometimes use these terms interchangeably. Sometimes groups of people like to use one word over another. I would listen to your community and see what they're most comfortable with or what they kind of say back to you if you're chatting with them about these opportunities. Donors will generally have an aspect of your activities that really speaks to them. There's like something that you're doing that they're super into. The more they can point to that area of your work and say, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a partner because I believe in this. The more you can harness their passions so that you can do great work together. One way to do this is to offer an opportunity to completely or largely cover the cost of an entire project. This might be to cover the expenses for a concert. It could be to pay for a commission. Maybe you have a new program. It's called the David and Donna Smith Family Fund Composer Commissioning Project. This is because David and Donna are huge fans of new music, and you asked them to underwrite a commissioning project. They also really like public recognition, so you named the program after them. This is called naming tributes. It's a kind of donor benefit. The downside is that underwritten programs and sponsorships are typically tied to particular expenses. They are very restricted funds. That means that you can't use the funds for general operating, but rather to fund a very particular project. They are very attractive giving opportunities, sponsorships, and underwriting opportunities, because the donor can point and say, this happened because I gave. Showing impact is one of the most important things to do with your donors in the stewardship process. It can be effective in the cultivation in a case like this, where they want to know what's going to happen because I gave. I don't want to spend too much time on the rest of the list. There we go. But I will say from personal experience, many of the largest gifts I've seen us receive, not just for our organization, but on behalf of our affiliates, come from stock donations. If you are an affiliate, we can accept those on your behalf. You just need to make sure that your donors know that this is an option. They need to be asked to give stock donations. I don't want to, and then pay attention to the email addresses of your donors. They may work for a company that has a matching gift program and not even realize it. So, for example, Disney is the parent company of Pixar, and they have a fantastic matching gift program. Do we have questions?
Yes, employer matching gifts. We had a question from the potential donor, and they found in InterMusic SF, but I had no idea how to have them give that will end up in our affiliate account.
Okay, so with matching gifts, the way that it usually works is the donor makes the initial donation. This sometimes means that the initial donation also goes through a platform. It's not always the case, but one of those platforms is Benevity. So Benevity is a platform that facilitates employer matching funds for several companies. And if they want to give and have their employer match it, they have to go to their portal and give your donation through the portal, and then the company will match through the same platform. So we don't initiate that. Sometimes if a donor doesn't have to go through the platform, what they do need is an acknowledgement letter, and we always issue those for our affiliates. So they give you the if they give us the donation, we issue their tax deductible notice, their acknowledgement letter on your behalf, and then they can take that and submit it to their employer. But it usually always has to go through the employer, and then we receive it. Yes.
Can you clarify the difference between a mission statement and a tagline, please?
That is a great question. I think that they can be used in interchangeably. If you feel that the tag is doing enough for you, sometimes those are really effective, like the ones that we were looking at earlier. I would say just be sure that you're fully communicating, but lots of short mission statements do the same thing. And you could always like fill it in if it needs to be a sentence. Like if it needs to be a complete sentence, you can always rework how you say that. You could say, our mission is, put simply, this is the mission that we are advancing, : your tagline, for instance. Any other questions? I know there's like a lot from the last section. So the more people have options open and they know exactly what they are and how to do it, the easier it is for them to say, yes, I want to give that way. Or, oh yeah, at the end of the year, I always like give some donations and then have my employer match all of them. This is very common. You should have a place on your website that describes how you can accept donations. And we have the donor, the donation page that we host for everybody has their own donation page, but that's just one way. Like it really doesn't have to just be a donation page and a link. It can be a lot of different things. Yes. Question? Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, let's go to the next slide. Okay, how do I get started? So remember this, supporters must have two very important things. They have to have mission alignment, and they have to have capacity. And they can give time. Maybe they are a CPA and they want to help you set up your chart of accounts. or they're a copywriter and they want to help you write your appeal letter, or they want to share, they're open to sharing their sphere of influence and introduce you to people in their network, those that have high capacity. They might introduce you to the member, like a member of someone on a board of a foundation. Or they could be asked to give money and they did. So those are kind of the three ways that people can be involved in philanthropy. I would say that all of these are extremely valuable. And those people who are already giving to you, you should consider how else they can be more a part of your activities. If someone's actively donating, they're really passionate about what you're doing, have a cup of coffee. Say like, hey, thank you so much for your last donation of $50. Like, I was wondering, do you want to be more involved with what we're doing? I mean, you're developing relationships with people who care about the music that you're making. So knock down the wall and see the people. Really engage the people. I would recommend connecting with your donors, sending them an email, texting them on various things, news that you find that they might be excited about or interested in, or something that paints a part of the problem that you are trying to communicate exists and it's in the media. I would just email them and say like, this is what we're doing. I'd love to touch base, or if you have a few minutes, or I haven't had time, but I just wanted to say, you know, we're doing such great work, blah, blah, blah. Like, keep them, try and reach out to them at least once a month. And I know that that sounds like a lot. It's not. Like, the more you talk with your donors and the more that they are aware of your needs, the more they're going to want to help in any way possible. And it's about making connections and making networks. One thing as a network connector is they could be a host. They could play a part in a host committee. So a host committee is when somebody is willing to open their address book and say, I'm going to invite my contacts to your event. That is one of the best ways that someone who's excited about what you're doing, they don't have to fundraise on your behalf. They just have to say, I care about this so much that I give money to them. And I think you would want to know what they're doing. And so you get introduced to other people who also have capacity. Remember that this is a partnership, right? So people who are in a good partnership want to make more good stuff happen from it. And it is truly relationships first. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, does anybody have questions about that? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Know your personalized story. Always be collecting testimonials. Everyone at your enterprise, your ensemble, the people that you write music for, they should all have a personalized story about how the work you all are doing had an impact on them, like how it was moving for them, how it was something special from a very personal point of view. I will give a quick example of an affiliate. So we have an affiliate who was David James, and he was awarded the MGP in 2023. And just a few days, you know, we supported the project. A year later, he applied for San Francisco Arts Commission funding. He was awarded. So he was awarded the funding partially because we stood behind the project and funded it as well. And he was able to accept the award because he has fiscal sponsorship. So it's a portrait for us of how, and it was just such great, it was great news to get. It's been so like exciting to congratulate him and know that we are having a hand in literally elevating someone's, a musician's career, and watching that kind of progression is so impactful for me. Having a story like that to share is really important for you, saying like, I was at a point where the only thing that was kind of shining a light in my life was writing, and I had the opportunity because you were a donor and you helped me fund this commission, and it was a fantastic success. Thank you so much for what you do. I'm so great. Like, I'm just so happy about the work that we're doing together. I hope that makes sense to everybody. I just wanted to also show this quote. This is a testimonial. It's always a joy to play for SF Music Day and be a part of the refreshing wide variety of genres represented. As lineage holders of valuable ancient tradition, it's crucial to the future of our art form that festivals such as this one present our music alongside other well-known styles of music. Arjun Verma, Music Day Artist 2024. So what happens here is that Arjun, well, I'll get to I'll unpack this a little bit in a second, but I keep a repository of testimonials. You should be asking the people who already support you, could you write me a testimonial? You should ask your players to write testimonials. You should have a quote that's ready to go, that's very much from a personal place, that you can share in the taglines of your emails when you have an appeal or on the actual letters that you write. Just keep those kind of front and center. There's stories that need to be uplifted because of the hard work that you're doing. And then I just wanted to say, yes, we have our repository. We segment by program so that we can tailor the communications for the donors based on where they're really interested and what they want to be like knowing about. So if it's really your education work, or if it's work in like maybe you have something where you're doing some community outreach and that's different than the education work, you want to kind of identify what does your donor really want to hear about, and kind of speak to that, like just get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? So this is kind of related. It's knowing the numbers. So how can you represent the work that you're doing in numbers? It can look a few different ways, but you want to show the donor, either prospective or current, how supporting your work can make a difference. For Music Day, I use numbers of paid performers that the festival supports, numbers of audience members. I talk about the numbers of hours of free programming. And I also mention the amount of time our programs have been going, like how long has this been a thing? For some of you, this could look more like when did the genre of music you perform start? When did it originate? Arjun did that in his quote, as lineage holders of a valuable ancient tradition. So he's using that as a place to uplift and point to the value of his work. It could be when you started playing your instrument. People are always floored, right? When you say like, oh, I've been playing for 32 years or whatever. This is a point of naming and having a number to say, this is of value. It could be the number of hours that your ensemble rehearses leading up to a concert. It could be a number of things. Get creative. You're all impressive artists, and sometimes people need these things like unpacked. So something that seems like a little mundane to you might be really exciting for someone who doesn't really know what it takes to prepare a performance or write a work or any other, practice your instrument, rehearse. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. We're going to recap, and then I'm going to do some Q&A. Okay, so to recap, fundraising is a partnership where you, the artist, and your donor work together to change the world for the better. You must communicate who you are, what you do, and why you do it in order to build a community that comes together to further a common cause. Get your story down and be able to speak authentically about your mission and why it's so important to you. And show impact. Be creative in having the numbers that tell your story. Okay. I am going to take questions. I am happy to answer anything that you would find helpful. Yes. Oh. You have a question from in the room?
So my main question, it's a little bit at the starting from the beginning at the fundamental of, so let's assume we're starting from zero, how to find donors or how to outreach, or what sort of events should we do to, or should we connect with people to start finding donors and having that communication?
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is that you need to ask, right? So you're all probably interfacing with audience members regularly. You're throwing concerts. You invite people, they come to see your work, right? So that is the point in which you have an email list, for one, because you want to stay in contact with everyone. And two, you ask for donations. And after you get that donation, maybe you get one $20 donation the whole night. You follow up with that person. You ask them to go to coffee. Why did you want to support me? What about that concert was so moving for you? Find out what the passions are of this person, why they were moved to make any kind of contribution. So the first place is to ask, and then you have these options, like these are ways you can support me. You don't even have to give money. You can volunteer. Those are those are supporters, right? Volunteers are supporters, and they can lead to other introductions to those with more capacity. So asking is the first step. The second step is following up. And if they can't meet for coffee, or you can't, like, try and get them on the phone, try and have a Zoom conversation, tell them more about what you're doing. Tell them more about why you're raising money. I'm raising money because I believe in X, Y, Z. Tell them your values. Are you someone that shares these values? I'm looking for more people who share these values. Would you be interested in inviting someone to our next show? Our next show is on this date. It would mean so much for me if you made it there, So there's the baby steps become big steps very quickly when you have the two things, the alignment and the capacity. But you have to welcome people into that conversation and tell them why. Why are you doing this? Why are you asking them for support? What are you doing with their support? How are they making a difference?
In addition to saying that at, sorry, at shows or concerts where I'm playing, any other ideas as to how to expand beyond me being in a show?
Yes, I think that if you are emailing people regularly, having a newsletter, you're telling people what's going on, and you invite feedback. You say, I would love to hear from you. You know, this is our mailing list, and we'd love to hear. I'd love to hear from you as an individual. If you're excited about any of these things, I'd love to. You know, then they respond. Now you have engagement. It's called donor engagement. Starts with an invitation, and those invitations can look very different. You know, it doesn't have to be if I mean, is there anyone here who is starting from absolute scratch, not one donation ever? Okay. So moving forward, yeah, have that QR code, tell them what you're doing, even if you're running a campaign, right? So we're going to talk a lot about campaigns, how to run them, digital ones, paper mailers, actual I would not recommend fundraisers, but you know, you have to have a pretty substantial donor base to do that. But once you have a campaign, you can say, I'm doing XYZ. It's a short time period. It's really focused. It's like, we are trying to raise this much money this month for this reason. Can you pitch in? Can you help us meet that goal? And I'll talk to you about how to frame this. It's very important that you place your goal within reach, that you have some people or have some donations and fundraising that has already gone toward the goal. And we'll get into that with the campaigns. But let's say you run a campaign, it's urgency, right? So you create some urgency. If we don't, this won't happen. And I know you really care about this because you've been to my shows and I blah, 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 blah. Do what you can. Is it $5? Could you make that a monthly $5? Now you have a $60 donation and you have a way in. You have a stakeholder now, someone who has put into the pot and now they have a vested interest to make sure that you succeed. So getting over that, like that first step, I do think is in frame, becoming practical, you know, going down deep inside and lighting up the passion of your work within yourself. When you speak passionately about what you're doing, you tell people that there is a need, that you are solicited. I mean, if you're so moved to donate today, please do. We would welcome it. We have a goal of reaching this in the next month, in the next 2 months, by the end of the year. Like identify how you want to structure your campaign. And like I said, we'll talk more about this next time. But once they're in your community as a supporter, they'll want to know how to continue helping, especially if you're updating them and that you really do bring them into your community and you're like, hey, I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel included in what we're doing because you are helping this happen. You are our community. And they, like I said, they don't have to give money. They can give lots of different things. Say like, if you can't give today, we are looking for someone to help us with our printing. And we're looking for, like, you can get donations of products from companies. There's knowing what your needs are and asking for them to be met is the first step. You must ask.
Mission statements seem easier to define for groups. For individual artists trying to fund specific projects, it's a little, I don't know. I'm not trying to make the world a better place 1/8 note at a time.
Well,
But
see,
wait, how does a
Okay.
mission statement help an individual artist?
Sure.
I can come up with mission statements for a project. That's easy, but do I really need one for me?
Yes, you do. So that's kind of at the heart of what I'm talking about. So you are asking for donations. Donations are for charitable causes. Charitable causes are efforts that make the world a better place. So if you're not trying to make the world a better place with your music, you shouldn't be asking for donations because that's not how philanthropy works. I think there is something inherent on the why music. And I think that there is something inherent in arts and culture. And for you to find your why music, why music? I mean, is music, what does music bring to your community? How do you want to frame that? You know, what does that mean to you to have a powerful music experience? How does that, where do your passions lie within those experiences? That's where you need to kind of find, because I think, honestly, I think that creation and artistry, it's an equitable way of functioning. It's like bringing more to society. It's enriching. It's fun to do. But that enjoyment is very important for mental health. I mean, you can frame this in several different ways. It's the way that it speaks most clearly to you that is going to be the most successful in communicating to others. And I know that his mission statement sounds big, right? It sounds like, oh, I have to do this big thing. But I think that every one of you, everyone who is here, is making their communities better by practicing art and by bringing more art to our, at a very, very basic level, to each one of our communities, homes, churches, community centers, schools. I mean, think about why music. That's what I would suggest. It doesn't even need to be why your music. It could just be why music. Any other questions? Okay, great. I'm really happy that you were all able to make it. I'm really looking forward to our time next time. It's going to be very dense. We'll send out some materials in advance, kind of the sample appeal letters. What does a donor card look like? What are some options? Like, should I print? Should I not print? How long does a campaign last? How to set your goals? Where to fundraise first to actually make it, successful? And then that'll be the next session. I hope that's exciting for all of you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for being here.
See you soon.